thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Honestly, it takes all three of us working together to bring these conferences together, and I'm really, really grateful to both of you.
Mm. Yeah.
So I know Neil said that sometimes it's popping up that I have low bandwidth.
Right.
If for some reason that I'm lost, I'll just call in and we'll just kind of do like we did with the Portal to Ascension conference, and I'll just talk from the phone. But thank you, Alan, and thank both of you for your support with the Wish Alliance. And again, Wish stands for walk ins, indigos, starseeds, and hybrids. And we're a conscious evolution movement that's really providing promotion, community, and education to our members. And events like this really is what helps to support our efforts, pay our bills. So thank all of you out there for your patronage. We really appreciate it. Now, I also want to mention that the Wish Alliance has a Facebook page. So if you haven't joined, please do so. We have a website, which is wishalliance.org. And when visiting the website, you're going to notice that we have all kinds of great information there for you. You can find anything from articles to meditation to art, music, poetry, film. We've even got Alan's film up there,
Right.
and an area where you can also watch all of the Wish Alliance meetings, whether you join live or whether you're going to re-watch them. We have all of last year's posted. We're getting this year's up, and you can sign up to attend those meetings just by going to the website. On Mondays, we have the Conscious Awakening series, and on Thursdays, we have Cosmic Conversations. So, again, to attend, just go to the website, sign up, put in your email, you'll be added to our list, and then you'll start to receive probably more emails than you want, but you will receive emails letting you know what's happening. Now, having you here today also is a true demonstration of your willingness to grow and to expand your consciousness, because every time we're all together, we're creating this synergistic vibrational ripple, really, that's going out and changing the fabric of the old paradigm. It's breaking down the barriers, it's helping to create a new paradigm, new energy, and really a new way of being. So, the speakers that we have this year are going to be phenomenal. Each person has their own unique story on how they arrived to the planet, where they're from, and the mission that they're helping to anchor while they're here. We're also going to be receiving a lot of activations throughout the weekend, so please drink your water, grab a snack, whatever it takes, just keep your energy up. But let me go over the agenda real quickly.
Sure.
Today, the first presenter is going to be myself. So when I finish, I'm just going to move in to my presentation. Following me at 11:30 will be Phil Gruber. He will be talking with us about indigos. At 12:45 to 1:45, we have Jim Farley. And if you've never heard Jim, he's kind of a new speaker, but he is absolutely phenomenal. Then from 2 to 3, we had a change because David Nicholas Nan is out sick. And so he just texted, but we have a phenomenal speaker who's kind of new to the circuit also. Her name is Stone Hobbit. You're going to absolutely love her story. Then from 3:15 to 4:15, we have Jaden Fox, and Jaden's been around for years. Some of you may have even talked with Jaden because he has a practice. He works with integration. He's got a great story as well. Then at 4:30 to 5:30, we have Claire Candy Hughes. Claire is the embodiment of Archangel Ariel, and so she has a great story to share, and she's going to be providing a phenomenal activation. Then from 5:45 to 7 o'clock, we're going to have our panel discussion. Now, this year, yes, we're going to have all of our speakers, but we also have special participants. So, we're going to be watching a 10-minute film. It's called Neon Star, and it's by Rosalind Beth Horowitz, and she has captured a variety of craft, They kind of follow her around. And honestly, in getting to know her, she was just sharing some video with me the other night. She actually has started glowing. And we even saw that when we were doing an interview with her just the other day. It was absolutely phenomenal. So stay tuned for that. Then tomorrow we have, starting at 10:15 to 11:15, Sage Oneness. And Sage is also new to the area, and she will be doing some channeling for us. She discovered also that she's a walk-in. From 11:30 to 12:30, we have Devi Grace, and Devi is going to provide activations as well, and she's going to talk to us about the energy that she is working with and holding space for Gaia and actually running the energy through her body. Then at 12:45 to 1:45, we have Addison Ames, and Jason is absolutely phenomenal too. Some of you may be familiar with him because of his animal communication skills, but he is so phenomenal as well in other arenas. He's a great animal communicator, but he also channels, and so hopefully he'll be doing a little bit of channeling for us. Then at 2 o'clock to 3, we have William Linville. William has a phenomenal story about his becoming a walk-in, his integration process, and how he has been able to transcend all of the lower densities that we have here on this planet. Then at 3:15 to 4:15, we have Bridget Renee Holiday, and Bridget is going to be doing a little channeling for us too. Bridget's kind of a conscious channel, and so she's going to be bringing through some information and sharing some of her phenomenal knowledge. And you guys may be familiar with Bridget because she also is a regular on Clubhouse with the Awake and Ascending. So check that out if you haven't. From 4:30 to 5:30, we have Stephanie Lodge, who is also another angelic walk-in. And Stephanie provides so much information. She has trainings. She has codes that she can help to have people to help open up and to get them started on their paths as well. Then we have another panel discussion where we're going to be talking more about our galactic family. So we have Emma Louise Living Soul coming up, who was one of our speakers last year, among others. So you definitely want to be sure to hang out with us the entire weekend. Grab a snack, bring it to in front of the computer, have your water, whatever it takes, but definitely drink your water. So what I'd like to do is, before I get started with my presentation, I'd like for us all to just pause for just a moment, and I want to set the container and the intention for the weekend. So just go ahead and close your eyes. And take a couple deep cleansing breaths. Just allow your mind to calm and to drop into your heart space. And now I want you to take a moment just to set the intention that you desire to happen for you this weekend. And now let's add to our individual intentions an element of calming and balancing, open-heartedness, transformation, downloads, vibrational elevation, health, peace, joy, harmony, awakening and expansion of our consciousness. And if you have any other attributes that you would like to add in, or Alan and Neil, if you want to contribute to the intention, please feel free to do so.
Just allow the words you hear today to go through you, to activate you, not to judge them, not to say if they're right or wrong. Absorb the knowledge and let yourself be transformed, because each of us are key activation points on planet Earth as we are connecting to the rest of the cosmos. So each of you listening and watching and being part of this is key to the expansion of the knowledge happening here. So let yourselves increase in vibratory frequency as you hear all these presenters. And please share your comments in the chats, because that is a big part of these programs. Neil.
Yeah, and I would just throw into the intention here that set the intention to bring down the frequency, or to cultivate the frequency of harmony for our planet, so that we may still be centered, even though our external reality may seem chaotic, that we can stay true to the vibration that will uplift and assist us in creating a world that we know is possible. And as we do that, we have we are on the path to full remembrance of our galactic ancestry and truly who we are. So my intention is for all of us to wake up so that we can reclaim our sovereignty.
Mm, thank you.
Beautiful.
Very
And
nice. Thank you.
so it is, my friends. So it is. Thank you. Thank you. So, you
Blessings,
know,
Sheila. Thank you for your intention.
thank you. Thanks. So, normally, um, when I'm doing these presentations and if I introduce myself, I often forget to mention that other than a walk in and being the founder of Wish, that I'm a physical and a multi-dimensional healer, a multidimensional life coach, and I assist people with their non 3D walk in experiences, walk in integration, contact. I also work with the angelics and the Arcturians and the Arcturian medical team, along with their healing chambers. I'm a QHHT regression therapist, a spiritual teacher, a crystal healer, a Reiki master. I often I'm a spiritual teacher and have groups, but I also do one-on-one sessions. I'm a speaker, an event coordinator, and at night, most nights, I'm working on the crystalline grids, and I use that knowledge gained there to benefit my clients when I conduct the crystalline grid activations or the healing on both the clients and the earth. I'm also a ceremonialist and a shamanic practitioner. And recently, I authored the book Walk Ins Cosmology to the Soul. And currently, I'm working on revisions for a second printing. And also, I'm working on several other books. One of them is called Walking with Grace. And that is a book that's going to be put out by the Wish Alliance members themselves. So I'm really excited about that. And one that'll be coming out hopefully this summer is called the Science of Consciousness and the Cycles of Time. So hopefully that will be out by this fall. Now, the book that the Wish Alliance is doing is a collection of chapters that's written by the Wish Alliance members themselves. And the book is going to help jumpstart a series of books that we're going to be publishing over the next year or so. And so check it out on the website. We'll be putting more and more information up. If you've got a story that you want to share with the world, you can also contact me at Sheila at SheilaSeppi.com, or you can write to me at info@wishalliance.com. And so now what I want to do is I have a PowerPoint and I want to share that with you. Oops. All right. So today I am going to talk with you a little bit more about walk-ins and share some of the knowledge that I know that's going to kind of help prime the pump for all of the other walk-ins that you're going to hear over the next couple of days. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the crystalline grid work that I do. But on September the 23rd, 1999, I entered the body of a 38-year-old woman She had 3 children, and I agreed to come in to clear out all of her soul contracts and to assume her life. So I'm what's called a soul exchange walk in. Now, it was kind of easy to walk into this body because you can see over a series of 20 years or more, this body was very, very sick and had been diagnosed with an entire host of illnesses, not to mention stress from work, stress from a dysfunctional marriage. And so on September 22nd, 1999, I went to bed a very sick person. I was exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally. I ached all over. You know, Celebrex was my best friend because at that time I couldn't even open up my hands without the use of it. And, I was just in pain every single day of my life. So while I was in bed, asleep, it felt like someone the next morning reached down, grabbed me by the hair of the head, pulled me bolt right up in bed, and then it was as if lightning was running through my body, and I found myself in white space. Now, I don't know how long I was in this white space, but I know that for the first time in a long time, I was out of pain. I was comfortable. I felt at peace. And when I finally came back to myself, my peripheral vision came in first and then my frontal vision. Now, I didn't realize it at the time, but my body had been completely healed. And when I went back to my regular doctor's appointment, they had absolutely no explanation for what has happened. And they were just as dumbfounded as I was. And so one of the things that happened is as I was sitting there in the bed, just looking around the room, everything was the same, but everything was different. And I really didn't know how. It was like everything in that room was speaking to me all at once. And then I began to remember past lives that the night before I didn't believe in. I remembered universal truths that I didn't understand at the time. I remembered healing techniques that I had never studied, nor was I even interested in those because I was really deep into that Western model. And I also remembered what it was like for the soul to slip effortlessly out of the body and to come back in again. And during all of this, it was as if everything in the room was talking to me. Every article of clothing, the pictures on the wall, you name it, it was all talking to me. And I was hearing and feeling so much that I was totally overwhelmed and my mind was a blur because it was being flooded with thoughts that I had absolutely no reference to. Now, at that time, I had no idea even what the word metaphysical meant. I had no foundational reality for what was really happening to me. And then as I got up and began to walk around my house, I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror and I just stopped and stared because it was as if a stranger was looking out of my eyes at me. I was staring at my eyes and my hair and my teeth, and because everything was so different. And because I was hearing and seeing and sensing everything, I honestly thought I was having a psychotic break. I thought the dysfunctional marriage, my dysfunctional personality, and the illnesses had finally taken a toll because honestly, I had absolutely no other explanation for what was happening. Now, you can see everything around me had changed. I was clairvoyant and clairaudient and clairsentient and all of these wonderful clairs, but at the time they were so overwhelming. Of course, now they're just commonplace, but at that time it was like, whoa. Then I had all these personality changes, eating and lifestyle and music and taste in clothes. And within 3 months, I'd left the marriage. And within another 3 months, thank God, I have found my first spiritual teacher. And if it was not for her, I honestly don't know where I would have ended. Well, probably in a mental institution because I was convinced I had had a psychotic break. And I want to just interject, this is one of the reasons that we have the Wish Alliance because I know what it's like to feel like you're losing it, like everything around you no longer makes sense. And so I don't want anybody to feel like that. And if you're feeling like that, or you're experiencing anything that I have listed up here on the screen, please reach out, info@wishalliance.org. You can get a hold of me at Sheila@SheilaSeppi.com. And it may take me a few days, but I promise I will get back with you. But let me get back to the presentation. So everybody around me noticed that I was different. And not only did I think I was losing my mind, they kind of thought I was losing my mind as well. Now, I wanted to put together this collage of photos because this is the age that my children were at the time. And this is my parents, my sister. And when I came in, I had an immediate love. Look at those precious babies. But I didn't remember anything. I didn't remember their birthdays. I remembered some about their birth, and I had some select memories. But honestly, I couldn't remember. And even even looking at the photos today, I don't remember these puppies. I just don't remember it. And even the things I remembered about myself at the time, they quickly began to fade. And it got to the point my memory was so bad that my mom, right here, my precious mom, which I look like, my mom sat me down on the couch and she asked me to make a doctor's appointment because she thought I had the early stages of Alzheimer's. And that is when I had to explain to my mom that I was a walk-in. And she was so, even though she didn't understand what it was, she was so accepting and so loving. And honestly, people, I have been blessed every step of the way since I've been here. I've had so much support. Now, my relationships with my family, extended family, and all my friends began to change though, because I really didn't even have a connection to them anymore. And of course, 22 years later, I've reestablished some of those relationships. And sometimes it's really crazy because I'll be talking with somebody and I can actually add to the conversation something that happened pre-walk-in. When that happens, I'm kind of like, wow, where did that come from? Because if I try to recall something, I really can't. But sometimes it just sort of slips through, and I'm very grateful and happy for all the memories that I have and actually, where I am in my life. And the reality of it is, though, still most of my pre-walk-in life is a blur. And I'm sure that has to do with the illness and everything. But one day I asked my collective, which I'll talk to you about in just a moment, but my collective, and they said that the reason that I have no memory is because that I hadn't lived this life. Not this life, not a future life, nothing associated with that natal soul who was the original soul. And that every memory that I had actually belonged to the natal soul and it really didn't have anything to do with me. But because I had accepted this role, I really wanted to know more. Now, I also asked what had happened to the natal soul because I was like, well, I don't know where it went. And am I a body snatcher? And what happened to it? Because again, I knew nothing about metaphysics or how this world works. And they explained to me that no, you're not a body snatcher, that there's always a contract made between souls before the natal soul can leave and the new soul can incarnate. And that's true across the board for any walk-in. There has to be a contract in place. You can't just jump into a body and push a soul out. Doesn't happen that way. But the previous soul had incarnated for a certain set of experiences, and even though those experiences had not been completed, they no longer could handle life on earth and they wanted out. So the natal soul was like so far off mission, so dysfunctional, so sick, so much in pain. They were just like, hey, I want out of here. And had I not met that call, they would have had to have stayed here. Now, in my case, when the natal soul cried out to be released, there was an instantaneous soul agreement that was struck, whereby I would take over the life, I would start to clear up their contracts, I would raise the children, etc. And then I would implement my own mission and my way showing to be of service to humanity and to the planet. Now, During a recent regression with Barbara Lamb, well, it's not that recent, it seems recent, but about 2 years ago, I had a regression session with Barbara Lamb, and I learned that prior to my incarnating into this body, that I had been part of what's called a collective. Now, at that time, I was in what I say the fullness of my multidimensional essence because all of my pieces were back. I was whole. And I had merged with others who were in the fullness of their multidimensional essences, and together we formed a collective of like mind beings. And before merging with this collective, my multidimensional self had experienced lifetimes with the Elohim, where I actually assisted in creating angelic life and then actually became a created myself as an angel. I experienced Palladian and Sirian and Arcturian and Orion and Mantis and Lyran and Andromeda lives, among others. And I'm sure there's others, but those are the ones that came through, and they were all enveloped in the Christ consciousness energy. Now, we were deep out in the Andromedan system when we heard or felt, kind of sensed a call coming up from Gaia asking for assistance. And we left Andromeda and we came to Earth. And we joined and merged with other collectives. And we enshrouded the Earth with that Christ consciousness frequency of love and awakening codes. And while we were here working in these grids, we were actually working on the etheric exterior and the interior planetary grid system when a cry from the natal soul came out to be released. And then it was decided by the collective that I am known as Noela, that I would be the aspect that would incarnate. Now, the natal soul to this body had been Arcturian. And because I had been a multidimensional being, in order to incarnate, I had to find some kind of a resonance with the physical body because it was so sick and so depleted. And so, since the natal soul carried the Arcturian frequencies, and I had been Arcturian and was in a collective that had Arcturian frequencies, I brought from the collective more of those Arcturian frequencies to make it easier for me to incarnate. Now, fortunately, the Arcturian soul had imprinted along the energetic framework, along with the body template, and I'm gonna talk to you, and if I've got time, I'll show you how you can see that. But they allowed an aspect of the collective to enter without frying the body's neurological system because they imprinted that framework within the body template. And so these attributes would serve me well in my mission of being a way shower and in helping to awaken the human consciousness. And I still receive downloads. I still incorporate other aspects from the collective. But when I entered in, I brought with me more of those Arcturian attributes. And even today, I continue to work with the Arcturians, as I had mentioned earlier. Now, when a walk-in incarnates, the soul vibration of the walk-in is so much higher that, and actually it's so different than the vibration of the natal soul, that changes have to occur in the template before even the essence, even a small portion of the soul is able to enter. Now, the etheric body layers are either switched out or they're upgraded to accommodate the new energies. And sometimes it's instantaneous, depending on what the match is, if the soul is a future aspect, etc. Sometimes it's instantaneous, and sometimes it occurs over a period of months and years. And like in my case, I had an aspect that came in, but it took me a long time to be able to clear the body enough that I could bring more of myself in. So in my case, because the physical body was so ill, it would have been impossible for me to incarnate everything that's in there now without blowing up that whole entire neurological circuitry, because had it not been for the fact that the natal soul was Arcturian, I wouldn't have been able to enter the body. Now, when a walk-in enters the body of a host, it has already been imprinted with the information from the natal soul. And so all of that information has to go back and it has to be cleared. So when a walk-in cannot fully integrate, as I've been talking, into the body until all these old energy patterns are dissipated. Because remember, when we come in, we're coming into a body that's already had a soul, that's already imprinted on the body. So before all of my soul energy could enter, I had to repair the neurological system and the biological system of the body. I had to clear out the old soul contracts. I had to heal the emotion and behavior patterns just so I could have space to energetically imprint on the cellular structure of the body and activate my own mission. And again, this is something that's true for all walk-ins. Now, the small portion of my soul essence that initially entered the body had such a strong vibrational frequency that when it attached to the physical body, it actually activated light codes of memory that was part of the cellular structure that belonged to the natal soul. And that's why I started having all these past life memories and things that I really didn't even understand or believe in, because those light codes had been activated. Now, over this weekend, you're going to hear a lot of people talking about light codes. But by my definition, a light code it's like information or a set of information that vibrates at a specific frequency. That's part of your soul and your etheric template makeup. Now remember, that etheric template is that body double that extends about an inch around the body. When you look at it, it kind of has that golden hue. And there are codes that hold genetic and ancestral and soul information that's imprinted into the cellular structure of the body and into that body double. They even hold frequencies that's necessary for a person's conscious awakening. And it took me nearly 10 years to transcend all of the natal soul's imprinting so that I could fully integrate into the body. And even now, I continue to receive new light codes, new information, and new upgrades. So my walk-in experience was so profound that it imprinted on the cellular structure, and I can still recall all of these details viscerally as if they have just happened yesterday. And who knows, that could be part of my mission, so that I have that passion and that desire to go out and to share what happened. And when you hear everyone's stories over the weekend, realize we're not hanging on to a story. We're sharing a story in hopes that it's going to make an impact on your life, that it's going to help to wake you up, that it's going to help you realize that there's so much more out there than we have ever been told. So real briefly, I'm going to run over the different types of a walk-in. So I'm a soul exchange walk-in. That's when one soul's out and another soul comes in. And when people talk about walk-ins, that's typically the type that they're talking about. The next kind is what's called a soul infusion. And this is when a portion of the natal soul remains, but a new higher vibrational aspect enters. And this comes from their multidimensional self. And typically with this, there's no disruption of memory. Like in my case, I couldn't remember diddly squat, and sometimes I still can't. So I like to blame that on the walk-in. But anyway, so the next type is called the soul overlay. And a soul overlay can either be temporary or permanent. And that's when the natal soul remains and a new aspect comes in, and it kind of covers that soul like a neoprene suit. And it helps to enliven it and helps to give it energy until it can actually go about its own mission. And if it can't, then the two of them merge and become one. The next type is called the soul braid. And the soul braid is when one or more soul occupies a body at the same time. And the souls are constantly aware of each other. Can you imagine knowing or being aware on that soul level that there's two of you, but they actually become intertwined, and the new soul doesn't attach to the physical body, but it attaches to the natal soul itself. But eventually that braid will end up leaving. Now, the next type we have is called a soul jumper. And a soul jumpers are ones that kind of move in and out of the body very quickly. And they may be here for a week, a day, and maybe even a couple hours. They could be here as long as a month. But these experiences are so profound that during the time they're here, they super duper imprint on the person that's having this experience. They just lay in the information, and the people that I know that's had these types of experiences really miss that energy when they're gone. Now, the last kind of walk-in that I want to talk about is the soul layering. And soul layering is when you have multiple aspects of the natal soul that all incarnate at once. So like for me, I brought in that Arcturian aspect, but now I've got Palladian and Mantis and all these other aspects. But when you have soul layering, they're just layered right on top of each other, and they're all active. And so it's sometimes one aspect will be forward, and then it recedes, and then another one will come forward, so that they kind of have this energetic dance of energy that's going on inside of a body. Now, there's other types of soul experiences, and the reason that I put these up here is people sometimes will confuse these with a walk-in experience because they're very, very similar. However, these typically come as a direct result of the person's hard work, all of their meditation, all of their studies, all of the books they're reading, everything that they're doing contributes to this. So that's the Kundalini awakening, the spiritual awakening, and the soul infusion. And I think right now more and more people are having soul infusion experiences on this planet just because of the hard work that they're doing, and they're bringing in more of their higher self. Whereas a walk-in soul infusion, they're bringing in more of their multidimensional self, and they're attaching in. And some people are actually bringing in more of their multidimensional selves. I think now on this planet, we have so much that's going on that next year when we get back together and talk, there may be other things that have come to the forefront that we're going to be able to share, other types of soul experiences. Now, I wrote all of this in a book called Walk-Ins, The Cosmology of the Soul. If you haven't bought it, run out and check it out real quick. But it has a lot more detail. And you can see I interviewed 15 individuals who also shared their story. So if someone doesn't resonate with my story, the idea was that they might resonate with one of these other people's stories and help them to wake up, because this book I wanted to use, kind of as a lifeline so that people could have a place to go. And in there is also a questionnaire. So if you think you might be a walk-in, you can grab the book, you can go through there, look at the questionnaire, and see if some of these experiences that you're having kind of line up with some of the walk-in experiences. Now, as I mentioned earlier, prior to incarnating, I was part of a collective that was working on the crystalline grids of Earth. And what I'm going to share with you is kind of the work I'm doing now and the information from my recovered memories and my knowing. And they may or may not fit with your memories, and that's okay, because each one of us is coming from a different time-space continuum. And we can only interpret what it is that we're experiencing from our point of view and our frequency resonance and our ability to even translate what it is that's coming through us. And sometimes that's where we get lost within our lexicon. One thing is happening, but we're kind of translating it as something else. But anyway, these earth grids are an etheric, crystalline, geometric kind of infinite structure that's holding the 5D and beyond frequencies around and within the planet. And these frequencies can download, they can transmit multidimensional information and energy throughout the entire grid system. The system covers the entire planet's etheric field, and it's even on the ground and within the earth. Now, found within the crystalline grid are light, sound, and energetic frequencies that are pulsating. And when these crystalline grids cross or come into contact with each other, gateways, vortexes, and entry points throughout the planet, the universe, and into other planetary planes of existence form these etheric pathways. Now, these grids vibrate and pulsate with frequencies that can connect humanity with their multidimensional timelines and their past, present, and future selves. So you can kind of think of this patterning as an network that's comparable to, like, say, the neurology of the brain or the body's nervous system. The grid pathways can connect us to our multidimensional galactic forces. They can also help bring in frequencies that are capable of propelling us into the higher planes of existence. The network carries within its own structure, when we tap into it, it carries that ability to evoke like telepathy and clairvoyance and all of the clairs, as well as instantaneous healing, shamanic journey, or even conscious evolution. Now, when we're connecting to the crystalline grid, we can actually download and upload information instantaneous just like that. And when we bring that information in, they carry light codes. And those light codes then assist to activate our body's own light codes. Now, one of the things that I do is help to wake up the light codes in people. And I travel these grid systems and I bring back that information. And a lot of times it has information about healing. I'm going to share with you in just a minute. Well, I'll go ahead and tell you. I just can't wait. So anyway, I recently discovered that there's like this new vein of energy that's running about 12 feet below the Earth's surface. And when I first encountered it, it kind of felt like this boom, boom. And I thought, oh, this is the heartbeat of the earth. But it was some kind of a pulsation. And later, as I've been working with that area and went back to it, that pulsation was gone and it's become a crystalline river. And I realized that that pulsation was actually hitting up against some kind of a blockage, and now it's broken through. I have no idea, no clue what that blockage was, but now that energy is flowing through. And so when I said that I travel all of these places, basically what I'm doing is I drop in and connect my consciousness with either the crystalline river, and I'm going to tell you about something I discovered there, but I can travel there, or I can connect in with the grid and it will take me to other parts of the planets, or maybe it will carry me to Mount Shasta where I can do work. I've never had the opportunity to go in to the inner world there, but there is a portal there because that chakra is one of the chakras of the planets, or that location is one of the chakras of the planets. But there's one section on this river that has like this white spiraling funnel, and it extends up and out in the ethers. And if you travel up that funnel, you can kind of exit because there's like little rings on the inside, and you can step out into a parallel dimension of this earth. Now, it's exactly, when I've stepped out on different things, it's like Earth, only a different version of Earth, and that was super, super interesting. You can also travel further down the river, and I have found what's like this waterfall. So you're traveling down the river, and then bam, you've got this big waterfall, and if you stay in that flow and you go in, you actually will go into inner Earth, or you can step off to the left or to the right. And if you step off to the left, it's going to take you to your recent current past. And if you step off to the right, it's going to take you in to your future. Now, realize that when you're doing this and you step off, let's say you go into the future, every time you go back, you might go into a different future, because there's not just one timeline in effect here. You know, we have multiple, for lack of better terms, dimensions, densities, timelines. Everything is like this running parallel, and we're kind of moving and navigating through those all of the time. So you also have to remember that what is occurring there is also affected by what's happening here. So now, in just a moment, I want to provide an activation that's designed to help you align with Gaia's crystalline grid. And I want to take you on just a little journey designed to download and transmit some higher light code frequencies, and to anchor those onto the planet and into you. So let me go ahead and switch that. And I wrote this down because this came to me. Typically, like all my students can tell you, meditations just come. And when this one came to me, I was so excited about it, because I'm like, wow, I really like that. I want to remember, because a lot of times I don't remember them. So what I want to do is to invite you right now to just kind of close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths in, just anchor yourself into this moment. Let everything fade away. Now, a lot of times in my work, when people come to me, they're having issues not being able to recall their childhood, or can't recall portions of their adulthood, and they ask, hey, could I be a walk-in? Could I be a starseed? What's going on here? And of course they could. But the reality is, after speaking to them a little further, I discover that mostly their minds have this protective veil in front of them because of some of the events that's happening in their lifetime. And when I first became a walk-in, I thought that's exactly what had happened to me. But during these times of crisis, portions of our soul will actually step out of our body, or a majority of us will step out of the body. And that's what's happened with most of my clients, is they've been operating day to day with only enough of their energy to kind of keep their body going. And so maybe that's happened to you. Let's hope not. But maybe sometimes when we have the events that happen, we kind of, go, oh my gosh, and we become disassociated from it, and we have these soul leakages, or we have power or energy leakages. So today I want to call all of that back in. So, all right, just close your eyes and focus on your breath. And begin to take a few deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And let's take about 4 of those in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good. Now just continue breathing on your own. And as you're taking these deep breaths in and out, you're going to feel a sense of relaxation begin to move all through your body. Notice how heavy your arms and your legs are beginning to feel. Just breathing in and out. I want you to place your attention on your spine and feel that warming sensation moving up and down as you set your intention of calling back your very own personal power. Just set that attention right now. You may have had soul loss, power leakages, but set your intention that we're going to call all of that back. We're going to find it. Now continue to feel that energy moving up and down, up and down. And this energy is feeling like a stream of warm energy moving throughout your body. And with this next exhalation, just send a stream of that energy out of the body. Gently allow it to make its way into the earth, to the top layer of the soil, and down, down, down through the layers of mud and clay, down through the bedrock. And as you come through this layer, your energy now is extending just about 12 feet below the surface of the earth. And if you look down, you can see this diamond-like crystalline river that I was talking about a few moments ago. And it's one of the tributaries that serves to feed Gaia her life force. So now just allow that cord to drop in to this crystalline river as you connect with this river. Now with your next breath, I want you to begin to pull that energy up into the body, through the soles of the feet and into the hips, and into that base chakra that's located at the bottom of your spine. Feel it anchor in. Feel how solid you feel. Notice how grounding and nurturing this energy is. Now that this energy is anchored, I want you to extend your consciousness outside of your body. And I want you to look around and pay attention if there's any energy that's operating outside of your body. Take a good look. It could be the form of a shape. It could look like you. But if you see any energy or any of your soul essence, just connect with that for a moment and see what that feels like and find out why it left. And now, in your own time, I want you to let all of that energy know that it's safe to return. And with your next inhalation, I want you to pull that energy back into the body. Taking a few more deep breaths. And continue to breathe, pulling that energy in until you don't feel any more energy outside of your body. And now that that energy is back where it belongs, with your next inhalation, I want you to pull more of that diamond energy up from the mother, up from that crystalline river. Just pull that energy up through your feet, all the way to the heart, where it now expands outward and it completely fills your entire energy body. So let's repeat that again. Anchor into that beautiful crystalline river. Pull the energy up through your feet, all the way into the heart, where it expands outward and it completely fills your energy body. You are now safe, guarded, protected, and sealed. And now I want you to notice that just above your head, there's a beautiful, beautiful golden crystalline grid. It's approximately 3 feet above you, and it's shoulder width in diameter. This is your own personal Christ consciousness grid hovering right above you. It's with you all the time. And as you're looking at this grid, just notice how your crown chakra is easily and eagerly beginning to open to receive this energy. So with your next breath, pull down that golden light, down into the body, through the crown, all the way down to the base chakra, which is located at the end of the spine. And as this energy is moving through the chakras, it's dissolving any blockages that might be holding you back. So notice how you begin to feel lighter as this energy is moving through. And allow this energy that you've pulled in to begin to merge with that crystalline energy that you've pulled up from that crystalline river. And notice how grounded and nurtured you feel. And watch this energy as it turns into a magnificent color of ruby red, sparkling like diamonds. And again, notice how safe you feel, how protected you are. And now with your next breath, I want you to pull down more of that Christ consciousness energy, that golden diamond-like energy, through the crown and all the way down into the sacral chakra, just below the belly button, where you feel your creative energies beginning to flow. And you can feel your emotions beginning to settle and clear. And all of that energy in that area begins to sparkle, a beautiful, vibrant, sparkly orange. Now again, I want you to feel a new surge of energy as that Christ consciousness light moves down into the solar plexus. Remember, it's clearing and releasing and bringing that energy in. And now in the solar plexus, you feel a new sense of self-confidence and self-esteem, self-awareness. Notice how you feel at one with all things and in control of your life. Now take another deep breath and pull in that Christ consciousness energy. Pull it down into the heart and notice how your heart begins to soften. Notice the love that's flowing into every pore of your body. Just breathe all of that in. Be in your gratitude. Extend love to the cosmos, to the Earth Mother, to your galactic family, to your Earth family. Once more, allow that Christ consciousness stream of energy, this time to come down and lodge into the throat, to open you up for clear communication and allowing you that ability to speak your truth with passion and clarity. And this area is vibrating a beautiful color of blue. And the solar plexus is vibrating that vibrant yellow. So you now have the beautiful red in the base, the orange in the sacral, the yellow in the solar plexus, and the blue in the heart. The blue in your throat, because that heart chakra already has that energy that's running through it. And that energy is that beautiful, beautiful emerald green. And sometimes it's coupled with that pink energy. Now I want you to focus your attention on the third eye. And as you do, you may feel a pulsation or a throbbing just between the eyes or a little bit above. And this is that Christ consciousness that's flooding your third eye and activating you to your highest intention and imagination. Notice how that feels as this area is pulsating with a beautiful indigo blue. Now slowly, ever so slowly, the Christ consciousness grid itself begins to lower into your crown chakra. You may feel a sensation, you may feel a little dizzy. Just take a deep breath in. Allow that grid to anchor itself firmly in that chakra. Now you are connected with that Christ consciousness grid. You're connected to the cosmos, to your multidimensional self, all of your galactic family. Just take another deep breath in. You may even feel a tingling sensation at the top of your head, and that's perfectly fine. And it's perfectly fine not to feel anything. Now that you've received the energy of this Christ consciousness grid, let's begin to slowly close those chakras back to their perfect size for you. And as they just systematically close, I want you to drop your attention once more into the earth and into that crystalline river. This time it's easy to go through the soil, the mud, the bedrock. And with your next breath, I want you to literally push through that river, going deep, deep, deep into the earth, where now you're connecting with the diamond white light of the crystalline grid. It sparkles, and the light dances all around, and it becomes one with that Christ consciousness energy that you're carrying, and that light dances even brighter. And it's like a show of sparklers on the 4th of July. You are now one with this grid. You can feed this grid. You can put energy into this grid only of the highest order. You can pull energy from this grid. And you can lose yourself in this grid as you become one with it. So just allow yourself to connect on that deepest level with the grid and breathe all of that energy in. And notice how that feels. Breathing it in and out. In and out. Sending and transmitting energy to the grid, to Mother Earth, to the multi-dimensional self that you are, that is now connected with this grid. Just breathe it all in. And feel those reservoirs of your being beginning to completely fill up. You begin to now gently extract your energy from the grid. And as you do, be in your gratitude for the experience of having become the grid, the experience of infusing the grid with the Christ consciousness energy, for being able to pull energy from that grid to fill up all of your internal reservoirs. And notice that as you pull back your energy, that the grid sparkles so bright that it's very difficult for you to gaze upon it. And now gently, ever so gently, begin to allow all of that energy to come back up through that crystalline river, back up through the bedrock, back up through the mud to the soil, all the way back up into the bottom of your feet. And notice how peaceful you feel, how empowered, how alive you feel. Notice how connected you are to all of the cosmos and to the cosmic self that you are. I'll take a few more deep breaths in. Very, very deep, deep breaths in and out. Begin to pull all of your energy back to this space and time. Taking another deep breath in and out. Open your eyes. Step back into this conference full of love and light and gratitude. And may you be well. Namaste. So welcome back, everybody.
Beautiful. Sheila, that was a pace-setting experience that opened me up. I can only speak for myself. I felt that Christ grid come in. I felt as if we were all walk-ins of the Christ consciousness, right? Isn't that
Yes,
ultimately?
we are. We are.
That's what I felt all of us are ultimately here to embody. But that was a cellular change. And I think if that's how the day starts, the next 2 days are just going to add to that frequency and that vibration. And maybe we won't even recognize ourselves on Sunday evening, you know?
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
But I also enjoy hearing your story because you go deeper and deeper and you explain more of your process every time I hear it. So I think that was excellent. And
Thank you.
and I could see that's why you're so passionate about this, because this is your life and your mission and seeking a kind of explanation for your process is important to you and for all of us. So
Right, because, you know, we don't have to be a walk-in to be experiencing this process because, you know, walk-in is just kind of the way we got here.
right.
Starseed awakening is the way you arrive. You know, we're all arriving, we're all awakening, and we're all there to have a similar experience. And so, again, whether it's a walk in or starseed, indigo, hybrid, whatever we are here, and it's important for what we're doing right now.
It reminds me of what Martin Luther King says. He says we may have all come here to the US on different ships, but we're all in the same boat. So right now. And I think coming together as a collective consciousness as we're pushing the envelope of something new is the best thing I think we can do for the planet and for the people around us, is pushing the envelope of something new and something unknown and being open to whatever that is, because it'll be different downloads for everyone.
Right.
So
right.
That's my opinion. So thank you. Beautiful.
Thank
and
you.
I had no idea your real work was the grid system and activating that. And
you know, that's something, I mean, I knew I was doing that, but it hasn't been until recently. Like if I'm doing short meditations, it's like bam, bam. And there's one spot on the property that when I was out there this summer and I sat down on a rock, it just immediately pulled me down. And that's when I first started experiencing that pulsation. So at night, before I go to sleep, I've been trying to consciously connect with the grid, because a lot of times, even when I wake up, I kind of know what I've been doing. I go back to sleep and it's not even really a dream. And I haven't been talking about it because it kind of feels like this sacred experience. And I really want to make sure what I'm talking about before I open my mouth and even share it with my family and stuff. So, I mean, it's been a very, very powerful process for me. And, you know, it's very interesting how when you connect in, it's much like the indigenous people when they talk about traveling the web. You can connect in through shamanic journey and travel with the web, or you can connect in with the earth grids and you can travel any place on this planet. And when you come to those areas where those grid lines will cross, that's when you've either arrived at a power place, you've come to a vortex, and sometimes if you see this big pillar of light, you can actually step into that light and it will transmit you through time and space to another universe even.
Wow.
I haven't gotten that brave yet. I haven't stepped into one of those. I've been
Well,
kind of tiptoeing around it, but I'm
let's
anxious to
do
do
it
it.
when we all meet in Colorado this summer. Let's
Yeah,
set
I'll
one
take
of
you
those.
over there. You can sit on the rock.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I've experienced some of those time travel portals, and they are a
Uh-huh.
little, they do take some preparation to just say, okay, bring it on. So,
Right.
but I
Right.
think as we prepare our cellular structure for like throughout this weekend, will be more prepared psychologically, because it's the human psychology that's in the way of
Right.
true evolution. So
Absolutely.
that's why I feel we're all gathered here to support each other in a change that's not just cellular, it's a different firing of the neural nets to
Right.
open up other perceptions.
Right.
So
And
that's
it's so important for us to realize also that the thoughts that we think, the words that we speak, the actions that we do, they're all imprinting on our structure. And so I always tell people, be careful when you set New Year's resolutions, because if you say, oh, I'm going to start doing 100 sit ups every day, and you do it for 4 or 5 days and then you just drop off and you don't
right.
do it, that's an energetic promise you've broken to yourself. And that too imprints into that structure. And it has to be cleared because
Yeah,
it's difficult to hold those higher frequencies and light codes as long as we have this lower vibrating debris
yeah. It,
circulating.
it weakens the field. So,
Yes.
that's why commit yourself to what you want to create and more. So then you strengthen the field as you go out and maybe accomplish things you didn't even know you were capable of. So,
Right. Right.
well, thank you, Sheila. This is a really great foundation for this weekend, and I
Yay.
appreciate you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Who, who's our next very special guest?
We have Phil
I,
Gruber.
I thought you were
Phil
going to say
Gruber in the
that.
house. Phil Gruber.
Where is Mr. Phil? Dr.
Is he
Phil?
in the house?
Neil, are
He
you?
he sent me a text. He goes, "You do know this is 2 o'clock my time." I'm like, "Hey, you agreed to it." So I hope
Okay.
he's out of bed.
I hope he's here too.